Oh man, guys, I am Stuffy Stuff. This is Bobby.
I'm
and
Bobby.
Together we are Between Two Teeth. Thank you guys for coming out. SmileCon 2022 kicking off.
It's a special edition, that's right.
It's a special edition. It's always a special edition, but it's a special edition. And we've got two incredible guests on today, and we guys are going to have you guys introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about just something that is a cool, fun fact.
All right, let's see. Why don't we start with you?
Okay, I'm Mia Geisinger. I am a periodontist. I'm a professor and director of advanced education in periodontology at the University of Alabama at Birmingham. I'll give you two fun facts. One, I wear a size 11 women's shoe, which is why I can wear high heels all day long because my feet are on the ground than anyone else.
Tanya Sue and I are like, whoa.
That's right, baby.
Wow.
Hashtag periodoc in heels. And second fun fact, I played water polo in college on the men's team.
Yeah, you did.
Wow.
Yes, you did.
Very cool.
That is
Mia,
interesting.
I am impressed.
That is interesting.
That is awesome.
Tanya Sue, why don't you tell us a little bit about you?
Yeah, I'm Tanya Sue Maestas. I'm from El Paso, Texas. I work in public...
Texas.
Yeah, that's right.
That's right.
So happy to be in our home turf.
Yes.
I work in public health, and I am a part-time faculty member at the new dental school in El Paso. And I guess we're sharing shoe sizes, yeah?
Yes.
I am on the opposite end of things. I wear a size 5.
Oh, man.
And a fun fact is I actually don't know how to ride a bike.
Ooh.
A motorcycle or a
No,
bicycle?
A bicycle.
So when people say it's just like riding a bike,
Yeah.
you're like,
no idea.
That
Tanya's
escapes
like, that does not apply to me, okay? I'm sorry about that.
Interesting.
That is,
Interesting.
there's still time. There's still time.
Okay,
well,
I like
well,
that.
let's get into some things.
Let's dive in.
talk about, Mia, I want you to talk a little bit about the research that you were a part of and your commentary that was recently in JADA.
Oh, well, thank you so much for asking. So as a part of sort of ADA and ADA SRI and the Council on Scientific Affairs deep dive into some of the dynamics that went on in dental practices during the COVID-19 pandemic. We looked at infection rates and infection control rates, and we had published previously about that, but we also had some information about anxiety and depression amongst dentists and dental hygienists, and how those rates fluctuated over time, including how they related to local infection rates of COVID-19, how they differed based upon role within the dental office, if you were a dentist or a dental hygienist, and how they varied based upon vaccination rates, particularly for individuals who wanted to be vaccinated. So the good news is that they seem to approach normal about a year into the pandemic, so May 2021. And we had a approach of dentists and dental hygienists kind of evening out, but for most of the study, dental hygienists had higher rates of anxiety and depression than dentists. And overall, dentists had elevated reporting of these mental health concerns.
And it's so important to have that research. I give kudos to the American Dental Association for having Brene Brown come and talk today.
Absolutely.
And everything you're
She's
saying
amazing.
makes me think about what she talked about. And she said, hey, most people are not okay. And COVID was certainly a challenge there. What I hear you say is we're kind of getting back to some sort of
baseline levels, but that doesn't mean that that's okay either.
You're not wrong.
Still have to be.
So what do we need to do? I know you had the commentary that kind of said, what are the action items that, as the American Dental Association, as podcasters, what role do we play?
So one of the things that we talked about, and I did this together with a colleague of mine, actually a college friend who is a clinical psychologist and an attorney who works at George Washington University.
I read that in the bio. I thought that was super cool.
Yeah, she's a badass.
Yes. That's cool. Oh, man.
But so she really helped me put together what our call to action would be. And we were really, looking at how do we look out for one another within our own dental practices? How do we look for signs and symptoms of burnout, anxiety, depression amongst our colleagues and our team members in the office? But also, how do we create systemic protections where we have resources available through local, regional, and even national dental societies, and building into dental school curriculum.
So I love that, and this is something that Tanya Sue and I were talking about, and I know other members of the New Dentist Committee, we were talking about building that mental health and well-being, almost a program but building it through organized dentistry. There are other kind of recovery network programs, but I feel like that's reactive versus proactive.
And certainly multifaceted. I think
Absolutely.
organized dentistry has a role to play. I'm on the state board in the state of Texas. We certainly see things from through a regulatory lens and things that we can do to kind of help out with that situation.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Tanya's too. I'm sure. I mean, even as the leader, you're in your public health right now. What have you kind of hearing Mia
Sure.
talk about anxiety,
Yeah.
depression rates?
I think, to the point that she mentioned, that we need to have an open space for dentists, hygienists to kind of open up.
Oh yeah.
I think it's also an opportunity for us to, as Renee was saying, be vulnerable. And I think that can be really tough for a lot of providers. I think that we're really not taught that vulnerability is okay. Like you and I were kind of
Well,
talking
and a
about.
lot of people, as soon as they hear the word vulnerability, sometimes they just kind of shut down.
Right.
And can I give we've got a special guy in the audience. I have to call T-Bob Davis.
Oh,
out
Dr.
right
T-Bob
now.
Davis, that's
And-
right.
And the reason I'm saying this is because as we talk about vulnerability, I was raised in a household where that was not a thing. You don't talk about feelings. You pull yourself up by your bootstraps and you figure your stuff out. The cool thing about T-Bob Davis is a Guatemalan mission trip
That's
that he has
right.
put on. I don't even know how many. It's been years.
A long time.
45.
It's been a touch of
It's
time.
been a long time. And so I had Bob McNeill kind of invite us on here, and these dental students got up and talked about vulnerability.
Well, now,
and that changed my life.
And the backstory was, you're a periodontist, I'm oral and maxillofacial. We're like, we got to
Yeah.
figure out if we can work together.
It wasn't
poor
gonna-
Dr. T-Bob was the venue for that to happen.
Yes,
but
absolutely.
going and serving, hearing
It
other people's
changed my
stories,
life, for
hearing
sure.
dental students. I know, you being ASDA president fairly
Yeah.
recently, the things that dental students go through is
Right.
such a
Yeah,
challenge.
and it changes generationally, but having that opportunity to work with students, and even now in a school setting, is really eye-opening. I think that we just need to have an open space.
So
that.
let's pivot a little bit and talk about podcasts as being a venue to help with that. And I want you to tell the story in a second about the one dentist
yeah.
who kind of reached
Absolutely.
out. But once again, kudos to the ADA for making something like this happen. This is the
Absolutely.
first time they've done something like this.
Very appreciative.
And
Yeah.
here we are. We're trying to figure out what are we doing up here.
I feel bad for the people in the audience.
We're
You're
between two
listening to
teeth.
us already for
Sure.
how many minutes? I think
We
it's been
do
8
have-
minutes. Thank you.
We do have satin jackets on, but
I can't tell you the last time I listened to a YouTube video for 8 minutes.
figuring
you
out
guys
the,
are awesome.
Figuring out the adventure and the journey, figuring out our own why, but talk about what that one dentist that was really struggling in a tough spot.
I'm happy to. And so this is a dentist. She doesn't kind of come to a lot of study club things. She keeps to herself. She's a young dentist who had breast cancer, and she was telling us about this just this past week, actually. And when you're doing YouTube work or podcast work, you don't get a chance to interact with the audience. You really don't know if anybody's listening.
We've got 3 subscribers, maybe 4.
I think one's my mom.
Most.
I think.
Your mom. Oh, we
Oh,
got
yeah,
other
Rudy too.
subscribers
Oh, yeah,
there.
right
There
there
we
in the
go.
back. Thank
We've got
you.
more than that.
Shout
YouTube
out.
between 2 teeth and Instagram B2 teeth. But go on.
Shameless plug.
Yeah, that was a shameless plug.
So this dentist, she is phenomenal. She just said she had gone through this breast cancer journey. Shout out to the gal that loves journey, that word.
Oh,
and and she told us, she looked us right in the eyes. She goes, "You guys, y'all's YouTube channel got me through my treatments, my recovery," and Bob and I were like, 2 things.
It gave me chills.
1, there are much better podcasts and YouTube channels out there, but thank you. And 2, thank you for sharing that. And I'll tell you guys this right now, everybody here, you guys have made an impact on somebody's life. And the thing is, a lot of times, you're not going to know it because people will not tell you. And just because you don't, someone's like, hey, you, my friend, have made an impact on my life does not mean you are not making an impact. So don't wait for that external affirmation to keep doing what you're doing. And I think that was the point. We had ended up getting this really awesome compliment from this general dentist who had just gone through one of the most devastating things in her life, but she was brave enough to share it with us.
She had the courage to share it.
And that makes us want to do more of this.
It does.
This is awesome.
You should.
Mia,
Yeah.
you should.
with your work and where you are now, has it changed you as far as how you move forward?
Yeah, so it's interesting. About 2 years ago, we started building wellness activities into our residency curriculum.
I'm interested about this.
Yeah.
I remember residency. I'm not too far away from that.
There wasn't a whole lot of wellness in oral and maxillofacial
Please
surgery at the
continue.
time either.
And far and away, it's not perfect. Residency dental school is still a very stressful, very intense time. And frankly, a lot of that is self-inflicted wounds. We are perfectionists as dentists. We are
Yes.
type A individuals.
There we
That is-
go. We're going to talk
I
about
see
perfectionism.
right there.
and by the way, as periodontists, like it's amped up.
It's
We
like
turn
up
that
to
volume
11.
up to 11. We
11.
turn that up
Yes,
to 11.
that
yeah.
is true.
So,
That reference was lost on me.
Yes.
Recently.
Spinal Tap.
Yeah.
Older
I know.
reference
I'm
lost
sorry.
on viewers. It's okay.
Sailed.
But from my standpoint, making sure that the residents have some breathing room in their schedule, making sure that we are doing things to promote their physical, mental, emotional well-being, and that we're creating a space where it's okay to fail and that we're all in this together, and that making those errors or critically evaluating yourself in front of your peers is not going to get you named and shamed later. I think creates a learning environment that allows all of us to do better and have that rising tide raise all boats.
And it really has to be everybody.
And it sounds like you're trying to create a safe space.
I hope so. A safe space for learning,
Right.
not a safe space for continually making the same mistakes, but that we're really looking at strengths and weaknesses and how do we remedy those weaknesses versus, sometimes I feel like students feel in dental school that there's this finite number of A's, and once those A's
Yeah.
are given out, then that's it, right?
So
And that's
yeah.
not how it should be. If everybody can achieve at that high level, then let everybody achieve at that high
And
level.
what Brene said this morning
Absolutely on that.
is be clear and be kind.
Yeah.
And you can be very specific about something's not acceptable, and you can say it in a very nice, kind way.
And I love that. And it's kind of, can the pie grow and can everybody be successful, or is the pie only so big and there's only a finite number of people that can be successful? And I think that kind of poses a leadership question. And people like Tanya Sue, and you've had this big time leadership experience at a young age, and you among all people know that the pie can be bigger. And you need second and third and fourth dancers, and you need to bring out the best in your team to accomplish something.
Yeah, I think that for me, getting comfortable with myself and my leadership style and learning how to work with others has been a growing process and something that I continue to learn from. But I think that it can be difficult when you have a leadership style that's different from yours, especially when you're working with others who maybe want to take things in a different direction. But learning to be comfortable in your own skin, I think, is a great first step.
And as Brene said this morning, if you have 10 different patients or 12 different patients, you may have to have different leadership styles for each of those patients.
Yes, absolutely.
Indeed. Talk to us about perfectionism. I know that was one thing we looked at, and Brene talked about perfectionism.
Yeah, I think as dentists, we're all guilty of trying to seek out perfectionism. And it's so funny because my niece was telling us, my oldest niece was saying that her mother, my sister, expected her to be perfect, to get all A's. And I kind of sat with that a little bit. And I'm not sure if that's what she was looking for. I think that what she was looking for is for her to do her best.
Right.
And I think that oftentimes we take that as, how can we be perfect?
Yes.
Instead of how can I strive to put my best foot forward every day? And I think that there's a fine line there, but identifying that it's okay when things go south. Things happen, especially in dentistry. Oftentimes you can remedy those things, sometimes you can't.
How do you do with failure?
Ooh, I'm a crier. I cry.
Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
I'm also a crier.
Oh, yeah.
And I appreciate you
Yeah.
being the first to kind of
For sure.
say that.
Yeah,
That's good.
I cry. But I think it's important to take a step back, look at what that failure is, and learn to move forward from that. But yeah, you got to cry about it first.
I have failed so much in my life.
Solid.
And I have literally learned so much from failing.
Oh, absolutely.
Which is good, because I fail an awful lot. And that's okay. I think really getting to that point in life, I was ASDA president back in the day, and I had some real challenges and some failures there, and it makes you better for that next adventure.
yeah.
Do you struggle with perfectionism?
I mean, I think most dentists would have to, if they were being honest,
They're being
say,
honest. Say, yeah.
yeah, of course. And, one of the interesting things about being in an educational environment, or even being a parent, is that you start to learn that fair isn't always equal, and that not everybody is going to struggle or succeed with the same things, and having some grace with yourself and with others to kind of deal with that is critically important.
I love that comment, because once we start comparing ourselves to others, we start going down a really dangerous road.
Yes.
And just because somebody is excelling or doing something really good with their time and talent in one venue, it does not mean you have to be exactly the same.
Or
It
that
doesn't-
they're not struggling in another area.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. And I love your comment on that, because it's hard when we're in dental school or residency or even getting out into private practice. It's easy to say, this doc has a nicer car, or this doc has more patients, or this doc has better reviews.
We all compare.
We all compare, and it's I think the challenge and the opportunity is to kind of look within yourself,
Right.
see where your time and talents are best served, and stop worrying about what everybody else is doing or not doing.
And everyone has a role to play.
Yeah.
Everybody. And we're all different. Even on this deal here, you're the brains behind the operation.
I am not the brains behind the operation.
You're the
Such a nice thing to
creative.
say.
She's the creative.
I am
for
a
sure.
go with the flow, not all who wander are lost kind of
but
mentality.
let's talk about
He's the reason this whole
perfectionism.
airplane
We had
flies.
been talking about trying to do this for the longest time. We love Between Two Ferns,
Yeah.
Zach Galifianakis, and we're
Cringe
like, it'd
humor.
be funny Between
Look him up
Two
if you haven't
Teeth,
seen him.
and just be
He's
real
great.
low budget, real basic, and just talk about stuff. But it took us looking at it and saying, okay, can we be vulnerable? Can we put things up there? I shared some of my episodes. I completed my MBA a couple years ago, shared with my faculty, and one of them's like on board. He's, an emotionally intelligent person. The other ones are like, oh my gosh, what on earth are you doing putting information out there? But as part of the journey, and it's
Yeah.
never going to be perfect. If you wait for
that's a good
perfect,
point.
you will
You'll
never
never get
have
You
100%
will
of
never
the
get there.
information. You'll never get there. At best, if you have 80% of the critical information you need to make a decision, that's what you're going to have.
And that was important for me just to hear that, because I always want, I feel, I don't know, there's a safety for me to know, okay, I want 100% of what this is going to look like on the other side, or where we're going to be after we do this thing, but you're not going to have that. And you probably will make the wrong decision trying to have it perfect tomorrow than making a good decision today.
And life is messy.
Is it messy?
Yes, and that's
My
the way,
apartment's very
that's
messy.
the way. That's the way I think life is supposed to be.
Yeah.
Well, what we're gonna do. Thank you so much for coming. I
Oh.
know you have a lecture that she's between lectures. We have Between
Mia's
Two
been
Teeth.
super sweet
She
to
is
be on.
between lectures. You are so kind.
Between
We
two
saw
teeth,
her at
between
Southwest
lectures.
Dental Conference, and we have to have Mia.
Is that
on.
cowboy hat still fitting you okay?
I got the cowboy hat, but
Did you bring
did
it?
not take it on the plane today because I
It's
was
hard
not
to
going to
do all
lose
that.
it, because I hear you only get one.
You only
know.
get one. We ended up wearing our cowboy hats on the plane. It
The
was
rest
it
of
was
this week,
awesome.
we've got to wear cowboy hats.
Yeah, we're gonna
We're gonna
Mia,
do it.
do
We're
you
gonna
have a between two teeth pin?
I do not, but I'm going to put it right here next to my Perio Slayer and
thank you
ADA
so
seal
much.
pin.
There we
Let's
go.
do
And
it.
by
So,
the way, if you're in the
thank you
audience, we have
once
between
again.
two teeth pins for all of you guys for hanging out with us
Yes,
today.
we
Thank you
do,
so
between
much.
two teeth
I would
pins.
throw them, but we all know how disastrous that is.
Exactly.
So I'm gonna
Well,
leave them
thank
right
you
here.
so much for joining
Thank
us.
you for
Thank
having
you for being
us.
part of the conversation.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Such an
absolutely.
important
And keep
part
that
of conversation.
conversation
Yes,
going.
it's
We
an
will.
important one.
Thank you
Indeed.
so much.
And what we're going to have.
I want to pin
Let's
too.
have Arnell. You come
Arnell,
on. Yes,
why don't you
please
come on
the
up?
stage.
What we're doing, we're
Tanya
free
Sue,
flowing.
That is for you as well. And are we going to do We're flying by the
We're
seat of
just
our
flying.
pants here.
We're-
So
yes, we are.
Tanya
Come on
Sue,
in.
thank
Sit
you
down.
so much for being
you
on
so
here.
much.
I can't, guys, I have to take a moment. Tanya Sue is a 10 under 10 winner.
Yes.
And
At this
she
meeting,
is
congratulations. Let's give it
absolutely
up.
amazing.
Yes. Tanya.
I continue to be impressed by you, my friend. Thank you. Keep doing what you're doing. You are a rock star.
It'll be interesting to follow your adventure and Mia, the work that you're doing, the critical work for mental health, wellness for all of us.
Mia, I don't believe you said a size 11? No, ma'am. Those are awesome
Those are pretty
shoes,
cool
by
shoes.
the way. I love
It
this
is
fuchsia.
terrible. It's terrible
I
that
could borrow
the feet
those.
are covered down here. Is that
Could
is
you
that your
really?
foot size?
Size 10.
Size
Oh.
10.
I could borrow those.
Oh,
Yeah.
man.
I'm about a
Yes.
13
Yeah, let's
and a
chat.
half, so your shoes are safe with me, Mia, if they go. Now, we've had a couple people join us. Go ahead and put your headphones on.
Put those
the microphones,
headphones on.
we
We're
want to
gonna
be
do
a little bit
sound
close
check.
to the
Can
microphone.
you guys hear us okay?
I can hear you.
There
Oh,
we go.
fantastic.
Well, let's see. Let's see. Why don't you
I was
go
gonna
ahead
say,
and
let's do the
I
same
want you to
exercise
you
here.
to introduce yourself.
And one fun fact,
One
please.
what?
I like fun facts.
No, should we pressure them? No, not everything
Pressure
should be
them how?
fun.
Oh,
This is
give us an
serious.
unfun fact.
You could give us an unfun fact. Yes.
Give us an unfun fact.
Oh, goodness.
I am a regulator, so that kind of goes with the territory being unfun.
I got
I'll
you.
stop talking now.
All right. Well, good afternoon, everybody. My name is Dr. Arnell Wright, socially known as the Daily Dentist. And one unfun fact about me is that. Oh, should I not have said unfun?
No.
I love
Do
it.
whatever you want.
Arnell, you've got a beautiful voice, by the way. Keep
Oh,
going. I
thank you
love
so
that.
much.
She's never said that to me, by the way.
No, because
Ever.
I don't know.
She usually
I
tells
say
me
it
to
how
stop
it is.
talking, but okay.
No. So you guys would not believe that I used to play drums growing up in church. That's
Oh.
a fun fact, actually.
That's really
Nice.
neat.
Don't
Nice.
ask me to play now, though. But I did used to
Now,
play a drum set.
Did you practice at home then? Were you driving your parents crazy?
You know what's so funny? I used to use buckets. And so I had drumsticks,
Oh,
and I used to
nice.
use, I don't know how to describe it, but it's just like those buckets that you just carry like oranges or something in.
I'm thinking we see you at any receptions the rest of the week. We're going to need to have a bit of a demonstration on that.
We'll give you a beat.
Boom.
Yeah,
That's
something
right.
like that.
Yeah.
Well,
So-
thank you for joining us, and I want you to talk a little bit about what you're going to do, but in a minute.
I was
Okay.
going to say,
Yep.
at the end of the table.
At the end of the
Yes.
table, yes.
Who you
Tell
are,
us who you
fun
are.
fact or
Fun
unfun fact.
Fun or unfun?
Unfun. Well, we don't like unfun, so we're going to do fun.
There we go.
I like that.
yes.
Let's do it.
I'm Amrita Patel from New York, although I live in Connecticut. Unfun fun fact, I wanted to be an Egyptologist. And my mother said
Ooh.
no daughter of hers is going to dig around in the desert for a living.
You're saying your mummy had a challenge with
Mummy.
you being an Egyptologist? I'm
Mummy
here all
jokes.
week. I'm here all week.
Thank you for some people
I'm from
laughing at
Canada.
that. We're just,
Mummy.
I
Mummy.
literally
Got
that
it.
just.
if y'all didn't
Sorry.
repeat that, it would have been lost on
That's
me.
why she never says, "Oh, I like your voice" to me. It's
Got it.
usually kind of what I say. Well, welcome and thank you for joining us.
And Rita, also a 10 under 10 winner. Is
Yes,
that correct?
That's
last
right.
year.
Congratulations.
Congrats.
Let's give a clap for that as well.
Woo!
I'm
Absolutely
literally
spectacular.
going for 50 under 50. Who do I talk to about that?
One
Is
of
that
them,
is that an award?
I don't know.
We can
need
make
to-
it one.
we
I
need to
say
make it-
Rudy's got that.
Yeah.
He'll
Yeah, we can make it one.
he'll make it one.
That'd be good. That'd be good. So I want you to talk about you're doing a podcast.
Yes.
I don't know a whole lot about it. Tell us. Give us a promo. A
Little
Yeah.
sound bite.
Little sound
Exactly.
bites, that's
Okay,
right.
so
In the house.
as you guys know, so the ADA is launching a podcast. It's called Dental Sound Bites. It released today.
Oh.
And I am one of the co-hosts
Yes,
on
you
the
are.
podcast right alongside Dr. MJ Hanlon.
Shout out.
She is a rock star. She's full of energy, and I'm learning so much from her by being on that podcast.
MJ is awesome. You know, she's in the regulatory realm, or at least, you know, and she helped me with a virtual haptic simulator. I had to prep a tooth.
That's right.
Oral maxillofacial. I had a pulp exposure very early on.
It
Now, I had
didn't go
someone
well.
else
Don't
that
ask
was
him how
there
he did.
hitting it. It was a fun video. MJ was very kind about that. But
Well, Arnell, I love that you guys are doing that.
Yeah.
Finally getting it. When does it launch officially?
Today.
It's
She
Today.
just said today.
Yeah, it
Okay.
launches officially today, and just the premise of the podcast is for us to just share like struggles that we have, just to be very relatable to our dentists, to our listeners. Any issues that you may have, we talk about sticky situations that you may see or experience in practice, and kind of just those things that you may not know that your dentist may experience day to day.
I love it.
What I love about that is, and I think it was kind of referenced in Brene Brown's talk this morning.
Oh yeah.
We all think that we're on an island all by ourselves.
For sure.
And, when you can commiserate with people, when you can sit down
Absolutely.
and that other person can finish your sentence because,
Yep.
yes, they've had those challenges as well.
Now,
Yeah.
you brought up islands, and that makes me think travel. This is how my mind works, guys. And Rita, I think I have to say you understand the balance here, the work-life balance. Can you talk to us
Ooh,
about
I like that you brought
about
that up.
travels and what some
Yes.
travels have meant to you?
Yeah, so, I like to sort of get a sense of what is going on around me.
Yeah.
Given the fact that, again, dentistry can be really isolating.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right? I think I'm seeing some people's heads shake in the crowd.
Yeah.
Sometimes it feels like there's no one there for us and there's nothing beyond what we're doing. Admitting that is hard. Being vulnerable is hard and scary.
Yes.
And traveling allows me to get outside of that.
Oh, I like
Yes.
that.
Which is one of the reasons that I prioritize it so heavily. Adventuring, exploring, talking to people, hearing stories. One of the things I like to say is mentors don't necessarily have to be dentists. They
Yeah.
just have to be someone who lives their life in a way that maybe you want to emulate, or can share wisdom with you from experiences that they've had that are different from yours.
Oh, well
Yeah.
said.
That is
I
And
love
that's
it.
the
Very
easy
much.
part about travel. You know, we did this Italian motorcycle adventure.
And
I saw that.
You say easy and travel in the same sentence. There's nothing easy about travel sometimes.
It was hard to have one bag and be gone for almost 3 weeks and motorcycle
Whoa.
helmets.
I love.
and-
I.
but you see different cultures. To your point,
So that's kind of where I was going.
you're
with
taken
that.
out of your comfort zone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't learn a whole lot when I'm super comfortable.
Yeah.
I rode
never.
motorcycles as a kid, and I'm like, I've got a great idea. I'm going to start riding motorcycles again. You know, never really a good idea, except that it got me out of my comfort zone.
Riding motorcycles is something wild and crazy, and quite frankly, I'm not advocating for people to go out and do that. What I think our journey was about was pushing people to get outside their comfort zones. I love how you talked about meeting people, hearing their stories.
Yeah.
It's super tough sometimes just to walk up and say, hey, how are you doing? I'm so-and-so here. Share something about your culture, your life. We love to ask questions to people all the time that are kind of silly and goofy, but the point is to get them talking and get them talking about themselves and what's true for them and what their passions are. I think today Brene Brown says a 2-word check-in, and I loved what she said about, do y'all remember this, the first word versus the second word?
Yes.
The first word is feeling and the second is strategy. I thought that was fantastic. So I would like to do that right now.
Yeah, let's
if it's
do it
cool.
right now.
And Rita, I'm going to put you on the spot here. 2-word
2-word
challenge.
check-in.
Scared and stressed?
Ooh,
Ooh.
nice. I am thoughtful and happy.
Interesting. Ladies first.
Oh,
Gives me a little touch.
I
when
was right.
think
That
about
was
it.
sometimes.
Yeah, you're on to me.
I got you. I saw that.
Yeah.
wow.
I am overjoyed and appreciative.
love it.
Oh,
Yeah.
this is interesting. I am thankful and excited. And I was going to go with a different word selection until you said what you said. And that encouraged me to be a little bit more positive a spin on my own reaction.
And Rita said your second word was stress. And I like that you brought that up because I don't know about you guys, but a meeting like this can be exceptionally stressful.
Yeah.
Does anybody
Yes.
have the agenda builder?
Yeah.
Oh my.
Listen. Oh.
Oh my. Yeah, I mean, the agenda builder is super helpful on the app. However, we're going in all kinds of crazy directions. And
Sure.
we talk about pillars of health, and I know you don't like stress as a pillar of health. However, what we can talk about is stress management and how important that is to happiness and well-being. And personally, I love how if we can control the stressors in our life, there was a podcast, a much better podcast, I was listening to recently. And sorry about cutting you off there. And it was talking about longevity. And the cool thing about chronic diseases is they can be tied back to stress. And you know, my family
That's
has
not a cool thing at all.
well, it is cool because the more you know, the
If
more
you
you
know.
can prevent,
This
or at
is
least
true.
try to change early on.
And I know, both of us did integrative medicine fellowships. You're a periodontist dealing certainly with inflammation
It was
as a big component.
Fantastic. It was a 2-year fellowship right after residency, and I'm going to say the coolest thing again, but the first
She
6
says that a
months
lot.
of the 2-year residency program, so a quarter of this program, by the way, was healing the healer.
Healing the healer.
And you know how important that is. Hi, Tara. Shout out to Tara. You know how important that is when they take a quarter of a 2-year program and make it about healing the providers. And
Yeah.
so you got to put your own mask on before you start helping others.
There you go.
You got to make sure your cup is full before you try to pour for it.
Yeah,
Oh,
can't pour from an
absolutely.
empty cup.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Indeed. Well, so I want back to your podcast that launched today.
Yeah.
Shout out.
And they get
Is
it
it
through
mine?
the app.
Yeah.
Dr. Camille will be excited if we talk about
Oh,
the
yeah.
Let's
the
do a
app.
shameless
He
plug
will.
for the ADA app
Shameless
right now.
plug.
So if you-
And
If you don't have the ADA member app, you definitely need to
you
download
need
it.
No,
yeah,
you gotta be. You're at SmileCon. You gotta have the app.
you gotta have the app, and you just
Yes.
go on and search for dental sound bites. It's such a cute little icon. Like the branding is amazing.
And the bites is BITES.
Yes.
Correct?
Bites.
Oh.
Yes,
Yep.
bites.
See,
Yep.
I would have spelled it wrong.
Yep.
That's
yep.
how I
Like,
am. That's why you
man.
and I are. Yeah, you help me function. Thank
Try
you.
to.
Try. That's right.
uh-huh.
Well, that's exciting for you. Do you have any idea where it's going to go?
We are definitely gonna see what our listenership is gonna be. I don't even know if that's a term, but
like it.
I know
I
we're
do
gonna
like it.
continue. Right now, we're just kind of launching it, letting everybody know that it's out there. The content that we have created. There was a co-creation team who helped build some of the content. They basically like did some research and got some intake from
Nice.
different individual of people just about what we want to talk about, things
Yeah.
that they may be interested in, primarily geared towards early career dentists. But I think with both MJ,
Come on.
whoa,
What about-
well,
Hey,
let me tell you,
You're calling yourself out
I
here.
act like I'm an early career dentist.
You're an early
but
career
I've
dentist,
been,
like, But what's unique is that we have both MJ and myself. So I'm considered early career. I'm 5 years out. MJ's been practicing for a good amount of time, so she's seasoned. I'm not gonna say, I don't say old.
Experienced.
She's seasoned. Yeah,
She says
she's
old.
experienced, so she's
Experienced.
seasoned, and she's been doing this for a while. So the beauty about it is that we kind of get to do that cross generational exchange
Yes,
with one another,
yes.
Yeah.
and so I get to learn from her. She gets to take tips from me.
Man, I love this.
Yeah.
And we were talking to some of our
I love
ADA friends that are on the CE component about
Yeah.
mentorship and
Yeah.
mentoring up
Oh yeah.
and mentoring down.
There you go.
It's an exchange. I loved this morning when ADA President Dr. Caesar Sabates,
Sabates.
Yep.
he talked about
was powerful.
everyone is wanted and needed.
There you go.
Yeah, and Rita, I mean, you've given several lectures here recently. What can you say you've learned about
And
mentorship?
not just lectures. I want to talk. You're an author at Dental Economics.
Yeah,
is
I'm on the
author
editorial
journalist.
advisory board.
Yeah.
The editorial
She's like
advisory
just
board.
like
That
hot
sounds
stuff
impressive.
altogether,
It's
y'all.
very
I
impressive,
would like to be
especially
on an
with editor.
editorial advisory
really
board,
good.
but my grammar's terrible.
Your
so
grammar
I'd
is
never.
very terrible.
I'll tell you that one of the best parts about doing everything I do is that I hope that someone or someones that are out there that think I'd like to do that, but I'm not sure how, do it.
Yeah.
It's not about, it is about us, but Arnell, the both of you, me, Tanya, some of the people that are standing here in the audience, I want the future generations to look and say, you know what, I'm not so sure that I could do it, but if they can, I can too.
Yes, ma'am.
I love that.
And frankly,
Thank you for that.
why I like our YouTube space is that we can be imperfect. And we're supposed to be.
Yeah.
Between two teeth, between two ferns, it's supposed to be,
So,
imperfect.
It
Articles
is supposed
are
to be imperfect.
challenging.
Articles are challenging. I love to write, and I really respect as far as being on an editorial board because the amount of stuff you have to sort through and read through to get the right article to the right audience. That's awesome.
And your recent article, the premise is.
Burnout as a status symbol.
Oh.
Tell us more about that.
I don't like to be burned
I
out.
want to hear about
I
that.
know.
Yes,
Let's
let's
hear
do
more
tell.
about this.
Yes.
So, I sat and I sort of thought this summer after
write
lots
that
of
down.
conversations with students, residents, and new dentists, and I said, why is it, especially through the lens of social media, that we all aspire to be tired? And we all aspire to be overloaded.
I'm writing that down.
I like that.
Are we chasing
I like that a lot.
being burnt out? And how is it negatively impacting ourselves, our communities, our team members, our patients? Where is this snowball effect? And I got to tell you, I think it's because we all have been relying a lot more on social media for the lens with which we view reality.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it's not the case. I spent 5 hours on Sunday asleep in the middle of the day, wrecked my sleep schedule because I just hit a wall and I said I have to shut it down and go to sleep. And to admit that and to say I've come to this point is hard, but that's the sort of reality. Now, what can we do to mitigate that? And how do we get better at handling that?
Yeah.
It's finding ways that are unique to each of us to manage that. And I'll tell you, we like to talk about unplugging. Okay, so literally unplugging our phone, unplugging from,
I've had
technology.
messages
Notifications.
streaming.
But I'll tell you this, that's not real for
quick.
everyone.
Yeah.
That's not real. It's not real for me. That doesn't make me less stressed out. It makes me more stressed out. For some people, it's watching a show. For other people, it's having a conversation with a friend that they haven't talked to in a long time.
Yeah.
Exercise, walks. Listen, I like buying shoes between patients. Guilty. That gives me peace.
We're all a little guilty of that.
But that's fine. And whatever it is that helps mitigate that for you, that's okay.
I
really-
appreciate you starting that conversation.
And I might have.
I know you have to get to the ACD convocation for the American
whoop.
College of Dentists. Steph is going
Yes.
to give
Oh.
you a pin for that.
I was going to give you a pin. I
And
can't give you my
thank
hat.
you
but
so much for joining us.
ACD,
What we
thank
are
you.
going to have is Dr. George Shepley is going to make his way up as well
And Rita,
as one
thank
of the
you so much. And I think we've got
new dentist
a pin
folks.
for you.
Good luck on your
Thank you.
podcast
Thanks.
launches
Thank you
today.
so
Dr.
much.
George
Yes.
Shepley, you come on up.
And we will
Yes,
see you
Can I
there.
take
you
a
could
pin?
sit and
Thank you,
put
my
the
friend.
headphones on. Thank you so much.
Can I take a pin?
Oh yes, you can. Oh, I forgot. To
Not
put it
only
back.
can you take a pin, we want
know
you
what?
to have the pin.
You get. We're gonna force 2 pins on you. They actually
Yes.
glow in the dark. If you haven't gotten a pin,
Right there.
certainly. And
Thank
go
you
ahead and
so
put the
much.
headphones on, and you can
Arnell,
get
thank you
close.
very much. We appreciate you. Dental Sound Bites, everybody.
Dental
Check it out.
Soundbites, check it out. It's
Yes.
on the ADA app.
ADA app.
Someone tell Dr. Ray Comia that I mentioned the app. He will enjoy that.
He
We-
will love that.
He
and
will.
you
Here
just
he
had,
is, Dr. George Shepley.
And you just had 2 rock stars here. So
We did.
We absolutely
I
did.
feel like I'm just sitting in the heavens with all the stars.
Now,
you two
can I-
and them
Can I
and
say
everybody
something?
else.
You showed us one of the coolest pictures I've seen in a while. It
Yes.
and I hope I'm not speaking too much here, but you were doing yoga on a BMW motorcycle. Now, a couple things to unpack with that comment. One, I mean, the fact that you ride BMW motorcycles, one of our
We love BMW.
we love the
We're not
adventure
sponsored
bikes.
by BMW, but we'd
We'd be open to
it. We'd be
sponsorship
open to it.
opportunities if
Yeah.
anybody's listening. But it was also the fact that you were doing yoga on this thing. So you had to actually balance on top of this bike. And I know I've tried to stand on bikes,
You have.
but I
We'll
wasn't
actually-
doing the moves that
we'll
I
show
saw
you
in
a
this
picture later on of that.
We'll
Yeah.
have to show you guys this picture
Tell
at
us
some
about it.
point.
But what you didn't see, it was on a stand. It wasn't moving.
Oh man!
I just
helped.
blew
Even
the
on
whole
the
thing.
That
stand,
helped.
even
so
on a
I blew
stand.
the whole thing.
Oh,
But
even on a stand's impressive.
those are my 2 passions: yoga and motorcycling. Yes.
Now, is
And
yoga really a passion of yours?
It saved my dental career. I mean,
Tell us more about that.
Really, if you've done it for me, like me, over 40 years, and you don't know good ergonomics, and you're slouchy and bending
Guilty.
over, and you have
Guilty.
a bunch of geezers in your practice, and you gotta like bend over backwards, and nobody can put their head back. Oh, I can't do this, and so you have to compromise, and then your neck hurts, and your shoulder hurts, and your hips hurt, and so yoga saved my career.
What would you say to young dentists out there who are trying to, they're working really hard, but they don't understand that? How would you say, how important is it to pepper in things like yoga or just kind of wellness practices?
Self-care and well-being. Take care of yourself, because if you don't, you can't take care of others.
Absolutely agree.
I've
with
got
that.
to tell you, I was moved yesterday. Was it yesterday that we saw you?
Yeah.
It was just yesterday.
It was just
Time flies.
yesterday.
So we're walking along, and Steph is really good at seeing things at a distance, whether it's on a motorcycle and we
I
see
go,
a squirrel.
that was George Shepley.
And that's what she said. And I said, "Are you sure? Are you serious?"
I'm like, yes.
And we're all by ourselves on the second floor. We see you. This entire event. I think it was literally like maybe up
That
there.
window right
It was
there.
that
Oh
window.
my gosh, it was this window right up
And-
there.
And the time that you took to have a discussion for about 15 minutes, and
We were touched.
The peace and tranquility, it actually meant a lot to me, because I'm a guy that sometimes gets overwhelmed with a whole lot of stuff.
Very easily. Yeah.
And I meditate, but I'm not where I would like to be. And seeing how you were yesterday and being so genuine, I felt terrible in a way taking some of your time, and you're showing us all these pictures, but I loved it. It meant so much to me. It really did.
Well, thank you for that. And I was inspired by the wonderful photos I saw on Facebook of
Oh,
your trip all
man.
through Europe on motorcycles. I was so envious that I wanted to spend time with you all and hear about it. And I think the way you live your lives is inspiring. And that's what this is about. Our family of dentistry, is everybody taking time to get to know each other, appreciating each other, sharing with each other. It's huge,
I love that word you used there, family. And, even stopping to say hi to the little people and kind of help us out like you did with just kind of showing us your own pictures and journey. We really appreciate it, and you make us feel like family.
Well, it's just like dentistry. Dentistry, to sit there and do dentistry all day long is great, but I didn't do my career just to do that. It was being with the people and being with the patients. And it's the same with this. I don't appreciate flying on airplanes and sitting in meetings and getting up in front of crowds and talking, but
Sorry about
I
this.
love no, this is great. This is like this
Sorry.
You were
is
so nice because
no, this is real, and
yeah,
I
yeah.
love
Is
this.
this gonna
'cause
be
is real
okay?
you're a
stuff.
busy guy, and we're like, please,
Well-
if you have time, we'll make a spot for
but,
you.
But it's about the people. It's about the stories and getting to know each other and sharing and telling our stories and appreciating the resilience that we all have and the things we go through.
And that's
Yes.
the beauty, certainly, with podcasts. And once again, kudos to the ADA for letting people tell
Even
their stories.
be in this space.
And it takes courage to get your story out there.
Here's a courageous question for you. What
Oh.
is your why?
What is my why?
Why do you do what you do?
Why not?
Oh,
Because I say that's what I was going to do, and I believe in the power of your word, and I made that decision, and that's who you are who you say you are, and
The power of words. I agree with that.
your word is the only thing you really have.
yeah.
Do
And Steph, we haven't talked about your why that kind of became the why for this and why we do Between Two Teeth.
Right. So,
So I'm going to push you. What's your why?
What's your why?
Yeah.
oh yeah, for sure, guys.
Yeah.
I got this covered.
Yeah.
We're gonna stall here for a second. So what we've kind of talked about is making things shorter. And so for when I was constructing my why, and it's going to be changing, by the way, because I don't know who I'm at. I mean, I'm this person today, but in 10, 20 years, I'm going to be someone with a different perspective. But today, my why is to connect with others, discover as much as I can about people, places, cultures, things, and then hopefully not only inspire myself to get out there and do things by what the great things other people do, but also inspire others. So connect, discover, inspire. And we've kind of, I think it was...
We've co-opted. That's
We were talking about values this morning, and Brene mentioned the importance of having values. And so when we look at our why and we look at, well, what do we value in life? And for me, right now where I'm at, I want to connect, discover, and inspire. That's the journey.
And you are really good at looking at your situation, looking at your environment, and saying, what's the environment teaching me? What's
Yeah,
the
I'm a
learning
seeker.
point? You are a seeker, and I think sometimes people stop being lifelong learners. The blessing of this meeting and the continuing education that is being put on, engaging the practitioners, getting back here. We want to push some of the fun components of just saying, hey, come say hi, tell us your story.
We want to hear your story, big or
Yeah.
small.
And I want to be you all when I grow up.
Oh, man,
I'm
come
still
on.
trying
I
to
don't think
figure
I'll
that
ever
out.
grow up
Yeah,
myself,
I don't.
but-
I'm still trying to figure out what I'm going to be when I grow up. I think we all are. So, but I love what you're doing here, and I appreciate the time.
Thank
I
you
really
so
can't
much.
stay much longer.
We
I could sit
appreciate
here
your
and
time.
chat all
We're going to
day.
get
I
the
know
new
you
dentist
could.
folks are going to come
We're
up
gonna
and
get.
take
you have other
we're gonna
folks out
get
here you
James
need to
Lee
talk
and
to.
Seth
We do
Walbridge
have.
up here.
We're going to have some characters. Yeah, let's give them a Between Two Teeth pin. It's the least we can do.
It's the least we can do.
It
Thank
glows
you, sir.
in the dark.
It glows in the dark, so it's
Ooh.
with
really cool.
appropriate light activation during the day. But
Love it.
it was
Thank you,
once again,
really.
it means a lot that you would take time to come and sit with us. Good luck in the year adventure that is ahead, and I know we are in great hands. We are family. We're part of the family. Anything we can do to help you, we're on board.
Thank you so much.
You are the best. Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
We'll talk again.
Leave
Okay,
those
we
headphones
will.
here for us.
Yeah, don't be trying to take the headphones now. You saying he's president-elect.
If-
He can take
He
the
could actually,
lights.
yeah, he could take this
You
whole
take
thing.
the lights.
It's just
you
your
can take
place.
the microphone, whatever the soundboard is thing. Now we already asked the new dentist people if they would
We're
come
gonna
on
ask
up,
the new
but,
dentist crew
they're
if
just
they're
doing
in the
their thing
area and they
can
have
kinda
some. Y'all have
sit
5
on
minutes.
down.
Could you guys grace us with your
Anyway,
presence?
Tell me, Steph, while they're coming up and
Yeah,
putting
yeah,
the
yeah.
headphones on, where are you right now?
I am in Houston, I think.
No, come on.
But I could not be.
Where
That
are
that
you?
may be.
Where are you?
So, are you talking about just kind of where
Just
am
where
I in
are
life?
you? No, well,
I'm a.
where are you? Like just in this.
This is a very
moment?
open-ended
It's
question.
an
I feel like I should ask
open-ended
Siri.
question. Yes. Or ask Flossie.
Oh,
Flossie, we
I
haven't
love
asked Flossie for any questions lately. But
Now-
where are you? Where are like?
So I right now I really meant it. Not all who wander are lost, and I'm a seeker. I think there's a lot more to life than just choosing a destination. And right now, what I'm interested in is not choosing destinations, but choosing journeys and adventures. And I think for me, that's going to be the best thing. And that's going to lead to the most fulfillment right now. So I think that's where I'm at.
And I am super excited because we're bookended here. Now, they wanted the teeth in the middle for a variety of reasons.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that.
Yeah,
you guys are outside of
We really
two
tried
teeth.
to get on the outside here, but they kept making us go right through the middle.
But we have two individuals up here who have been strong supporters of
Yep.
what we're trying to do from the very get-go. You guys are like the OG. You okay? You guys are like the OG. Yeah. Sorry, guys in the back there that are making everything work. But you guys are the OG guys. Let's see. You work with these guys a lot with New Dentist Committee.
And I won't do it justice, so I'm going to have you guys, just for our awesome audience who's sticking with us, introduce yourselves and give us a fun fact about yourself.
Or unfun.
Or unfun.
Unfun.
So I'm James, that's Seth, and we are between two New Dentist Committee members.
Oh, I
Dentist
like the
Committee
twist.
chairs.
I like the turnaround there. Yes.
There we go.
So
Yes.
Go ahead, Seth.
Sure. So I'm Seth Walbridge. I hail from Easton, Pennsylvania, the home of Crayola crayons, if you must know.
Oh, nice.
Fun.
Right
fact.
at the
Man,
foothills
that's good.
of the Pocono Mountains there.
Oh, very nice. I love the Crayola.
That is a fun.
Crayola crayons.
What's your
Yep.
favorite color of Crayola crown?
I'm a blue.
Blue guy.
I'm a blue guy.
No, you
personally.
can't just say blue. Like,
I know,
don't
you
they
kinda
have like
have to give a kind of a
8,000
shade of
blues?
blue.
So my wedding colors were white and royal blue.
Oh,
I love
yeah, you
royal
like
blue.
royal
So I'm going royal blue.
Love it.
The
Okay.
vests.
I'm James Lee. I'm a general dentist from Boston, Massachusetts, and I'm the vice chair of the ADA New Dentist Committee. And I have the pleasure of working with Seth and the amazing folks who serve on our New Dentist Committee. And we get to listen and hear the awesome stuff that's happening across the country that new dentists are a part of, they're doing. And we get to share that with the board and help them make decisions that shape our profession.
I love it, and I'm gonna give a shameless shout out to James here. We actually ended up meeting in person for the first time at the Druid while both of us were in Boston.
Oh, that's right. We're doing
And
a
this was a
Harvard
super-
program course. And
Super cool experience, and you had more of an impact on me than you may realize. But I'm going to tell you this here is the way you described the transition of a leader through the course of just kind of learning and developing that skill set. And you started with saying that when you start as a leader, it's all about how can I promote myself, how can I be in the limelight and be really big and strong and flex. And you said a wiser leader, though, one that has kind of taken that journey, it transitions into something a lot more complex. And you ended up getting to see all the good people that you work with. And how can I build others up? How can I put them into limelight? How can I get the best out of them? It might sound, most people might know this already, but man, I needed to hear that message at that point. And it really started to get me thinking differently about being a leader and why people want to be a leader. So thank you for that, really.
Thank you for sharing that. And I'm just passing on the paying it forward. Seth has been an incredible example to me. I've learned so much from him this past year. I follow him around like a puppy, and
No.
it's a real honor to follow someone who's the first New Dentist Committee member, the New Dentist Committee chair,
Shout
to
out
serve
to
on
that.
the ADA Board of Trustees. And so,
oh, you know what?
Yeah.
Let's do a high five. I'm going to do a high five.
We do a
for
high
that.
five? Boom.
That's how
I
we
love
started
that
out the day.
energy.
Give
James.
James a high five too. We
Right
don't
on.
do enough high fives.
It was actually really fun. We gave Bryce. Did we give your
Yeah,
group high fives?
very
It was
high five.
if you're looking for a great way to start the morning and you can't find your cup of coffee, give someone a high five. It's magical.
And you didn't wake up early enough to do the 5K run,
so
but you
I
saw
was
the
trying to
runners come
wellness
in
balance, getting
and
8
we're
hours
just
of sleep. It was a
high-fiving.
total conundrum there for me.
I'm going to pivot and I'm going to ask Seth a question. You know, we talk a lot about mentor relationships, and we mentioned a little bit earlier up here. How easy or challenging is it to mentor up to someone who's been in practice for a long time? You're sitting on
Great
the
question.
ADA board as, you know, the first inaugural New Dentist Committee member.
Correct. So when you say mentor up, you mean to, like, how do I find my mentors?
Mentoring someone who is more experienced, maybe
Gotcha.
older.
And to provide value and to truly be a mentor. We're also used to, well, come here, young person, I'm going to mentor you.
Yeah.
But go the other direction.
Exactly. So I think what's been important on the board this year has been just keeping everyone in touch with what is happening, just with current trends in the profession, and even just opinions on where we are in the world with dentistry. You know, how do we help the public more? It's a big beef I have with many organizations is, maybe we're not doing enough to help the public. I know Tanya's here, and she's a big proponent of public health. She doesn't know, but I'm a big fan of hers. So
You
yeah,
do a great job at encouraging and promoting all kinds of people.
yeah,
Yes.
And that's meaningful. That was meaningful
Yes.
to us.
and it's just being honest, So I think Tanya's a wonderful example of how we can just help the public, because we're very privileged to be in this position, and I feel like even myself could do so much more. But just spreading that message to people above me, it's just where I want to go, and where I hope we can do more in that regard.
Seth, the cool thing about you, and we were kind of talking about this, I think Tuesday night, it's been a long week already.
Yeah.
But Tuesday night, you were talking about kind of your transition and your adventure as you kind of started right when you graduated, wanting to flex, wanted to be that practitioner, that leader kind of on the daily grind that some of us find ourselves on, and you kind of seeing a different side of things. And the way you talked about being a dad, man, that was awesome.
Yeah.
Like, that was inspiring. Can you talk more about that?
Yeah, it's wonderful. So, I was just as you said. I wanted to go out and work 12 hours a day, 6 days a week. I wanted to pay my loans off in 2 weeks. It just didn't work out. I wanted to be this rich dentist that took no insurances and was fee for service and only worked on rich people, and but it totally shifted. So currently I'm a father, and my wife, love my wife, but she's the breadwinner in our family, and I'm very proud of that. So she's a critical care anesthesiologist. Her hours are wacky, and I had this passion for teaching, and she was just like, I need to be gone a lot. Someone needs to be at home with like our child. We don't have any family where we are. So she was just like, you love teaching. Why don't you try it? And she was like, I got your back.
Man.
Oh, that's
Super cool.
And
I love hearing that.
Like, finances are difficult, right? So she's like, I got your back. If we have to take some kind of crazy pay cut, so be it. But everything I do is because of her, pretty much, But in terms of my child, just even being a dentist has allowed me the opportunity to be a father. So I'm grateful for that.
I
Thank
love
you
the
for that
perspective
message.
you're talking about. Quite frankly, I always thought money would bring me happiness.
And I was there.
And the more I got, the less happy I was.
Yep.
And it just complicated things. And once you finally realize that's not going to do it for you, then you're on a journey.
Well, it's super
And maybe
tough.
that's part of what this is, as we figure out our own adventure, our own journey.
And I heard a quote once. Just
I love
Ju-
quotes.
just-
Let's hear
Yeah,
it.
let's hear it.
it's I base my success not on material ends, but how my child will describe me to their friends.
Ooh.
So I think that's a real. I try
Man.
I try and live by that.
That's really good. Yeah.
Very good.
I love this, and kind of segueing a little bit, James, what are you, what's your why, man? Why do you do what you do?
I've been so fortunate. As a second generation dentist, I've practiced with my father up in Boston, general dentistry, and I've had the opportunity to see our profession. It's a beautiful profession. There are so many diverse ways to practice in so many different practice settings, and our dental community is a beautiful family, and it's something to be cherished. It's something that we need to build up. And I honestly, my why is I believe that ADA should be the home for every dentist. I believe that we can make incredible things happen in the four walls of our operatories, our practices, but to have a larger impact and to navigate complex challenges like the pandemic, that required us to work together as an entire profession. And I'm incredibly proud to be a part of this profession. It's given me so many opportunities and a voice, opportunities to see and learn way beyond what I could have expected.
And I love that you call it a family, and I think that's what Dr. Shepley had talked about. And you know what happens in families? Sometimes there's fights.
Yeah.
Sometimes things get a little rough, all that kind of stuff. But you're still family, and you are well served by working through disagreements. I'm in the licensure side of the equation as well, and the regulatory side, and that's a whole 5-hour podcast right there.
We won't bore you guys with that side of the equation.
But I'd like to sit down and talk. But there's disagreements. But you look at it and say, why are we doing what we're doing? We are a profession. To your point, we want to serve patients. We want to have access to care, and get back to what Steph was talking at the very start. We need to put the oxygen on ourselves as well.
And can I make a comment on disagreeing and families disagree? I think it's the foundation of group dynamics. You have to be able to disagree with somebody's opinion, and you can still respect them as a member of the group. And it doesn't mean the next idea they have you will also disagree with or not like.
One of the things that I heard from part of my MBA training was a really, really important person to have around you is someone that
Right.
cares about you, but they'll be honest with you. A dangerous person to have around you is someone who will not be honest with you. And they'll say, oh, that was just great. That was just great. When they don't mean it. That's dangerous. And then having the nuance to figure out how to appropriately tell that person.
Feedback is very tricky.
It's where
And-
creative
and
ideas come from, too.
Yeah.
Come from
creativity
disagreement.
for sure. Absolutely.
What brings you joy? The question's coming to the
8
rest.
hours of sleep brings me a lot of joy, to be quite honest.
And that's important, and that is certainly one of the pillars of health that we kind of talk
You know,
about on our YouTube adventure.
And I'm going to answer that. So we do this exercise. So in our practice, we'll have our assistants there, our staff members, our team. And our team, we do exercises that say, what brings you joy? And it's actually real fun. So if I was doing this with James, I'd be sitting here facing James, our knees would be almost touching, and I'd be looking and say, what brings you joy? And he would give a one-word answer. And then he would ask me, what brings you joy? And you keep repeating this exercise. And the real cool thing is the first 5 answers are pretty superficial.
First 5 are easy.
And they're not necessarily like the kind of the meat and potatoes, but then you start to really get into it. And someone says
like that.
something, you're like, whoa, I
It's
didn't know that
pretty
about you, and
intense.
that is awesome.
It's pretty
and it can be
intense to
very intense, and you can tell very quickly if someone's struggling with somebody.
Did you
something.
answer the question?
I did. I said 8 hours of sleep,
Oh,
which is
8
very
hours of
true
sleep,
for
that's
me.
right. I don't listen well. That's one of the things.
I ran cross
that I do
country
poorly.
in college, and 8 hours of sleep was magic in the forest. And it was definitely different in dental school when it was a social shift for that.
Yeah. James, what brings you joy? And to move beyond, family is obviously critically important, but I'm trying to find just some other.
You want a deep answer, I think.
I want a deep answer.
Yeah.
What brings me joy is big blast radius. So using my gifts, passions, my talents, and everybody has them. It's different for every single dentist that's here at this convention and even across the country. Using your skill set, your unique skill set that you bring to our beautiful profession in a way that has a huge impact, right? That is so beautiful and powerful to know that it's not just your everyday, the impact. It is a big blast radius. And I
You're
would
making
love to
an
see
impact,
that.
a big one.
And everyone plays a role that ties into your leadership desire to lift up others. That fits in nicely
Love
with
it.
that indeed.
Seth, what brings you joy?
What brings you joy?
Correct. Well, I'm going to stay on the train of when I can see someone that is struggling come through it, or there's such a gap between people that are privileged and those that aren't. If we can just shorten that gap, it just brings me a lot of joy to see that, or to pay it forward, that sort of thing.
Oh, I love
I'm
it.
just all about it. I love
Well,
that
like
stuff.
that.
Speaking of what brings us joy, can I tell our story about our cowboy hat? Or do you want to tell it? You tell it.
No,
You tell it. Or do you want
I
someone to
wanna
ask
say-
you,
well,
hey, Bob,
What brings you joy?
what brings you joy?
Oh, thank you. I thought you'd never ask. I usually like it
I
when
love
people
it.
feel comfortable and vulnerable enough to say, what you did there really had an impact on me. Because
I'm gonna-
and sometimes it's super simple, like a smile.
So a one-word answer, please, sir.
Bringing joy to others. I'm going to pretend that's all one word. My grammar's terrible. So
I
I love it.
Let's talk about, and we're getting close to
I know,
being
I was
done
like, we're getting kinda
time-wise,
close there.
But, the jackets, Steph designed these jackets. We walked into the
some help.
hotel with some help. We walked into the hotel a couple nights ago. We had the big old cowboy hats on. We're going to wear the cowboy hats the rest of the conference.
I think Jared maybe, maybe it was Jared saw us on the plane. I'm not sure if that was, if Jared
but
was
we
the one.
walked in And
we walk in,
had a lot
so
of
we walk into the
energy.
Marriott Marquis. We're talking to the front desk people, and we tell them we're from California because obviously it's funnier.
SmileCon,
Oh.
Hold on, there's an announcement.
Happy Hour in Dental Central.
Oh, and goodbye, everybody.
All right, guys, we're losing our audience.
It's a drink and an appetizer located at several locations.
Oh my goodness, this
There
is
is
awesome.
happy hour.
No, it's Appy.
Appy hour.
Oh, man.
Oh, yes.
It-
To promote the app. Dr. Ray Camille will be happy that we talked about
He
the
will
app
be
one
happy
more
about
time.
that.
That's
so,
right.
so anyway, we tell this guy we're from California, and in that all tech. Shout out to Brett Kessler
Brett
over there.
Kessler.
Yes. We tell this guy we're from California, and we hear that all Texans wear cowboy hats, boots, and belt buckles
So we're
everywhere
like,
they go.
That's what we got.
So we walk in there, it's Tuesday night. She's checked out, and we're like, howdy. And she's just not feeling it. But by the end of the day, huge smile.
She goes,
She loved it.
You made my
So
day.
we get a note card from her later on saying,
You get a note card.
How,
You were the fun one.
Yeah, it is addressed to me, but I think
Yeah,
she meant
yeah.
both of us. And she just goes, man, you made my day. I appreciate that. And there is a saying on one of the walls here at SmileCon. It's by Dolly Parton. It says, if someone may not have a smile at that moment, give them one of yours.
Give them one of
Ooh,
yours.
I like that.
Yeah.
I really like that.
And I think as we close it off, all of us here, we are all a family. Family members are going to disagree. They're going to do a little more than disagree at sometimes. There's times where others are going to need help.
Yeah.
You're going to have a family member fall down, and if you have the opportunity to pick them up, then that's a wonderful thing to do. And as we end it off, let's end off with our why.
With
one
our
more time,
why.
if that's okay.
So my why, and I'm seeing some TDA Smiles Foundation people in the audience,
Oh,
and they know
that's
they're near and dear
right,
to
and
my
that's
heart,
a
so
lot
I
of
cannot
our-
help but
our
do a shout out
That's
to those
right.
lovely ladies. And speaking of why, so connect, discover, and inspire for me. That's my why.
And that's become the why of what we do. With the TDA Smiles folks back there, they are so heavily involved with Texas Mission of Mercy. I know you're the
Shameless
dental chair
plug.
for the event that's coming up.
We
it
would
gets
love
it
that.
gets to your
Yes.
point of access to care, helping those, using our time and talents and energy to serve the community, and brings us joy. It gets back to how we ended up meeting in Guatemala, figuring out if a periodontist and a oral maxillofacial surgeon could work together.
Life's a crazy and fun adventure, and if you let the universe take you in some directions, you'll be surprised at how fulfilling it can actually be.
Well, we'd love y'all to follow us. We are on Instagram,
At B2 Teeth.
B2 Teeth, and YouTube, Between Two Teeth. Come up and say hi. If you see us in the jackets, and we're going to have cowboy hats on the rest of the
Pretty
time.
hard to miss, and we
We're
will have
a
our
little bit
cowboy
hard
hats
to miss.
on. So
we'll be
please
laughing.
come say hi.
We'll be having fun. We so much appreciate
Thank you
Thank
both.
you.
We
for
appreciate it.
coming on
Thank you.
here, for being mentors, mentoring down, mentoring up, and just helping us. We are all family.
And thank you to our audience who has been here the entire
Yes,
61
they have-
minutes and
they
58
have.
seconds.
And make
Y'all are
sure all of
awesome.
y'all get a pin.
Thank you.
We have actually. Let's get Dr. Tommy Harrison back. These were our 3 original guests.
yeah, for
Let's get
sure.
him up in the video. We have to shut it off, but at least get him up here in the video. We want to give you guys.
I don't
want
to be throwing pins. We
I
have
would.
it.
I need a between the two.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you so much.
Come on up. I want
James
Dr.
Lee.
Tommy Harrison in the background. Once again,
He's
these
kind
3
of the-
individuals.
he was the original
He was the
pin.
OG.
Look at this,
He
and
was
he's
the
got the
OG
pin. Yes, I love
originator.
it.
But realistically, the 3 of you were the first 3 people that we had
Y'all were the
as
originals.
guests
You planned
on our
this.
podcast.
Well,
Literally, we didn't
Sometimes
really.
the
I'm
universe
not
just
smart
works out
enough
like
to
this.
plan something like this, but this is exactly sometimes how life works out.
Yeah.
Sometimes if you let life take you where the universe wants it to go, things like this will happen. So we are so blessed. Thank you all.
Thank you
all
guys.
for joining
Appreciate
us.
it,
Make sure you all
really.
get a pin. And thank you to everyone in the back who's working all the audio.
Between
Okay,
two
take
teeth.
care, guys.
Over and out.
Over now.
Okay.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you, guys. Thank you.
Between two teeth.